Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. This episode is a follow-up episode to what we did last week. We did a Q&A session where you guys send us questions. You sent me, you sent Geerish questions, and we go ahead. We went over here and we went over all the questions in detail, and I hope we answered them properly for you guys. So back by a popular demand, we decided to do another one because you guys really enjoyed the last one. And we got a couple of questions here from you guys. And if by some reason we didn't get to your question on time from, I don't know, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter today, go ahead and send them anyway, and we will get to them next week in our next video. So are you ready, Geerish?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, let's start. So the first question is for me. What to do when it's all going bad? This is a good question. So I don't know what your definition by bad means. It could mean anything. It could mean life and death situation. It could be financial. It could be a heartbreak. Not necessarily sure what your situation is, but what I personally do when things aren't working my way, let's say I'm not attracting a specific result. I know that my vibration is not where it needs to be. So what do? If I'm noticing I'm attracting things I don't want in my life, I'm attracting bad situations, bad people, bad results, etc. Then I know my vibration is not where I want it to be. It's not optimal for results for me personally. So what I like to do is a lot of things. I either like to be out in nature. I like to just take 1 day or 2 days, whatever, and just forget about everything and just really sit down and do what you love to do. In my case, it's fishing. I went fishing on Wednesday. Everyone needs a break now and then, just focus on doing what you love to do. That's something that really helped me. I feel like when I come back, my mind is reset. I'm more fresh. My energy is good. My vibration is good. And I'm just more productive. I don't know if that made any sense to you. I hope that answered your question. But for me personally, it's just breaking my routine and then just getting to what I love to do. That's something that really helps me out. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, I think it's an amazing response. I think you talk about being grounded because you get yourself grounded by going out in nature and fishing. And the one thing I would like to add to that is if someone tries to actually push away the problem, meaning you try to reject it, you try to actually not like the problem. I mean, you shouldn't be lacking a problem, but it's just that if you really try to push it away and you don't accept it as a challenge, it just gets worse. For example, I'll just give a very easy, very simple example. Let's say someone falls sick, okay? And you end up telling yourself, oh, I've got fever now, I can't do this, I can't do that. What happens is it just puts you in a worse situation than what it was before. All right, so one small advice would be, I'll just tell you what I do in my head. Every time I come up with something very bad, let's say someone insulting me, someone backstabbing me, something really nasty, let's say something bad happens in business, a business deal which doesn't go well, instead of actually saying it's bad, it shouldn't have happened, you try to overthink it, I just say, it's teaching me something. Okay? It's going to make me stronger. So self-talk, I think, is vital. You keep telling yourself, no, this will just make me stronger. Keep telling that yourself. I think you said that yourself last time. You keep repeating these positive affirmations to yourself in your head. So I would just add an icing to your cake and say positive self-talk. Yeah.
Excellent. So these next 4 questions are going to be for you, and then we'll go ahead and wrap the last one for me. And that will do it for this session. That's all the questions we got this week. So question for you, Geerish. How do I manage my emotions?
That's a very common question, in fact. We get that from a lot of people. I would like to suggest that you don't. It's funny, but it's like trying to be calm or trying to manage your thoughts. You don't manage your thoughts. Okay, in mindfulness, what I usually teach is that you observe your thoughts. And the more you observe them, you start to get detached from them, and then they stop affecting them. So you can't practice something so that you don't end up having thoughts. Thoughts will always be there. But thoughts are like the sky. Thoughts are like the clouds in the sky, and you are the sky. So the moment you detach yourself from them, it becomes easy. So the same for emotions. We get a lot of emotions, okay? And we just need to dissociate from them, so by observing them. So the answer would be by observing. And how do you observe now? It depends on your level of practice. I mean, some people can actually observe anger coming up. Some people just let the anger overwhelm them. So how would you manage that will depend on how you react to emotions. So let's say you're someone who gets angry easily. Let's say you can't observe it coming, you can't control it, let's say. Then what you need to do is every time you get angry and you're going to do something bad, you get yourself out of the situation. So you don't continue the conflict, you go on your own, you do what you were just saying earlier. You ground yourself, you go in nature, you go in your garden. If you need to punch something, punch a bag, you do that. Okay, as long as you're not harming anyone else. But you do something that gets you out of the situation till the emotion calms down. But with practice, you need to do something more solid, like practice a breathing exercise, which really helps you to calm yourself down, ground yourself in the moment. And with practice, you will actually be able one day to observe the emotions coming up and not react to the emotions. So we can't control emotions as such. The only way we can manage them is by dissociating from them. And then in that way, we can kind of let them settle in. But you need some emotions now. So you need to actually know which emotions you need in your life, which will lead to positive results, and which ones are destructive, and you dissociate from them. It's as easy as that.
Yeah, I just want to add I feel like emotions, you don't manage emotions. It's just like time. You can't manage time. You can only manage activity,
Yeah.
So I feel like with emotions, it's basically the same. You should just really process your emotions and most importantly, do not suppress them. Do not keep them bottled up. Find a form of expression. Find a form of outlet.
Yeah.
So,
Very good. I mean, you just said that, and I'm thinking of something like now. If it's really intense, like I was saying, you can punch something. You can actually go out and run, do an exercise, and that helps. But it doesn't solve the core problem, like what is triggering it. Now that leads to another interesting conversation about processing your emotions. So, sitting with your emotions, and then actually checking where it's coming from. What's creating that anger? Is it something someone said? Is it because you feel insecure? Is it because you care too much about people? I mean, it can actually lead to some very interesting and deep conversations with yourself. Why do you care enough so that you took on that criticism from the person? Maybe you're overvaluing the opinions of people. There are so many amazing things which come out through self-inspection, in fact.
By the way, for those of you who are wondering, we are going to do a video on chakras and emotions. So stay tuned for that one, definitely for sure. The next question is definitely also for you, and this one is: what are the breathing techniques for reducing blood pressure?
That's a very, very, very important question. In fact, that's why we did the anxiety video last week, because that could save a life. Okay, to understand this, we need to understand that there are different breathing techniques for different things. And you can't practice one general breathing technique for everything. It doesn't work, all right? So to decrease the blood pressure, you need to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system of the body, which is responsible for actually decreasing the blood pressure. When this part of the nervous system is triggered, it calms down, the body produces endorphins, and the whole chemical reaction in the body. So how do we trigger that? We trigger that by exhaling more. So if someone has a high blood pressure, what the person needs to do is the person needs to exhale more than he or she is inhaling. So the normal routine I usually teach to people is you breathe in for a count of 1, and then you breathe out for a count of 2. You see, it's longer. You breathe in for a count of 2, and then you breathe out for 4. Breathe in for 3, and breathe out for 6. Breathe in for 4, and breathe out for 8. Breathe in for 5, and breathe out for 10. Okay, and right now I'm feeling more calm. You do that as many rounds as you need. So 1 up to 5, and when you're doing the 5 breath in, you're releasing for 10 because you're doubling on the exhalation, and that should calm the person down. That should calm it down. So someone has a high blood pressure right now, the person does this till the blood pressure comes down. It's definitely going to calm yourself down. Okay. And usually that person should be doing other things like avoiding doing exercises where you have an inverted posture where, you know, the head is down and blood is going to the head. So these things should be avoided. That person should avoid actually getting angry or feeling over anxious. So it's a whole lifestyle, that needs to change when someone has a high blood pressure. So you can actually see it as a weakness, which is not something you should be doing, or you look at it as an opportunity to change your lifestyle so that you end up being someone very calm, very much in control. And you know, you can always look at something from 2 different angles, but always choose the angle which is actually constructive. I mean, that's the whole game, I think.
Before we move on to the next question, I had a follow-up question for you there. So besides high blood pressure, what else does that specific breathing technique help with?
The one we just did?
Yeah, the one we just did.
Yeah, so it triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, which will slow down the body. Now, when it slows down the body, the circulation of the blood is more fluid. It's as if looking at a lake where it's very smooth, you know? So that's what happens to the body. So you feel very calm, very settled. Now, the interesting thing is when you are in that space, you can actually observe your emotions really well. So that kind of links to our previous question as well. When you are in that state, you can actually observe anything that comes up. You know, if you're a bit anxious, you really observe it because you are in that calm state. And you say, you know, I don't need that emotion. So you just let go. So it's very easy to let go from that state. Now, imagine someone being in that state every day. Okay. Imagine how productive you can be because you're not distracted by anything. You are in that phase. You have something to do, you do it. In that state, someone criticizes you, you can let go easily. It doesn't affect you that much, you know? So that breathing technique seems so simple. You could say it's just linked to blood pressure, but it has the potential to transform your whole life. That simple breathing technique. And I can say it easily because it changed mine. You know, that's why I keep sharing about it. I keep telling it to people. It just changes everything. Conflict management at work, in your personal life. You get into conflict with your partner, he or she is saying something to you. Usually it will just, you know, trigger like a reaction from you and then it gets into a fight, which is not constructive. But instead of doing that, you will just observe, not react. And when the time is right, then you talk about it, you know, whatever you said was not correct. We can, you know. So it helps in many ways in understanding yourself and in understanding others, coming up with solutions. And when your mind is really calm, you can think of solutions. Even if you're designing something, you're building something in your relationship. So it's a game changer. That's an amazing follow-up question you asked. It changes everything, I would say.
As far as physical symptoms to other illnesses or diseases, right?
It will
It can help.
definitely reduce anxiety.
Yeah.
The fact that you're taking in less oxygen for your body to be in an optimum state, because the nervous system really calms down, right? Means that you're operating on less fuel, let's say, if I can use that analogy. So you can get all the tasks done and you're using less energy. So the wear and tear of your body is better, right? So in terms of aging, in terms of having a stressed body, it just slows down the aging process in that way. It detoxifies the body because you're breathing at your full lung capacity, okay? Because you're really using your lung fully when you're exhaling. So you're using your lung capacity more, meaning you're going to release toxins more. So it's a big change for your body itself at all levels. And at spiritual levels, I can't really say. You're just going to experience all the things you wanted to experience. Some people just start visualizing, and when I make them do the breathing exercise, they go places just with the breathing. In fact.
That was a very good answer. So right here, the next question is also for you. And I think this is my favorite question as well. And I'm going to go ahead and give my part after you.
All right, cool.
So the question is, what can I do so that I can be affected less by negative energies of people around me?
The 5-star question, right?
That's
I
a
mean,
real good question.
yeah, different people will say different things, and there are actually different ways of looking at it. Okay. At the very early stage, you can say that to not be affected by the negative energies of people, you don't need to be around them. That's like the first thing we usually tell people, meaning you look at your social circle and you really look at who are the energy vampires, who are the ones who actually, they are battery chargers and they're battery drainers. So you need to check the people lie in which category, all right? And you really need to audit your circle. I mean, I've done that years ago. I've really checked in my social media list for the ones I really want to see things from, because I'm not interested in negativity. So I really did a cleansing, and I did a cleansing in my life also in terms of people I hang around with. So we really need to check our inner circle. In that way, we can control the negative energies. But the top question I usually get is, when I do workshops on that, the best questions I usually get is, what do you do if it's your husband? What do you do if it's your wife? What do you do if it's your boss? How do you deal with that? I mean, easy, we control our social circle, we get out of it. But what if it's someone you actually have to work with every day? What do we do? Then, once again, I have an answer for that, because I do that too. If it's someone really close to you, then you really need to shield yourself. That's where shielding comes into place. You don't really need to open yourself completely so that they can actually find a weakness in you, So you keep dealing with the people in a positive way. You keep dealing with them, but you don't give everything in terms of you. So you keep it a very neutral relationship. Okay. So if you're working, at a workplace, you have to work with someone, you just keep it business. You don't get over involved in relationships. In that way, you can actually keep that distance and the energy won't affect that person. And you really know what really makes the energy of someone else affect yours. It's actually when you give a damn. When you actually care about the opinion of the person, it's only then that you get affected. Right now, when I start my day, I have so many things I do that I'm actually not bothered if someone gives a criticism about something, because I can't be bothered, because I don't have time to be bothered. So I think that brings the other aspect of it. Why do you actually spend time giving a damn about those things? You know, I think overvaluing the opinions of people actually causes that insecurity, causes these doubts in you. But at the same time, I think we need to have a routine so that we protect ourselves. And what's that? It's breathing exercises to make you stay in a calm state. It could be prayer for those people who actually pray. You know, some people have their own routine where they, especially those who deal with energy a lot, they shield themselves with white light, let's say, and then they start their day. So there are a lot of different practices. But the main point would be you get affected by negative energies if you allow it to happen. You know, and those who are super sensitive, you can just be sitting next to someone and you feel that negative vibe. And for me, it's worse. You know, when I observe the body language of people, I know they're lying. I know they are not truthful. And I have to deal with that. And I can't really tell them, you know, you're lying to me, because, you know, professionally, sometimes you can't just say that. You can say that to a friend, and you can say that in different ways. But you can't, for example, someone can't say that to his or her boss. You know, I know you're lying to me. That doesn't work. So it's a game. You really need to know how to get the work done. Actually, that comes to something exciting right now. Actually accept that people can be very bad, can be manipulated. Be okay with that, and just do your best. I mean, that's the way I view it.
Yeah, you have to understand that in this world, there are a lot of good people and there are a lot of bad people, regardless of what you do, in any and all areas of life that you do. So I have two answers to this. Number one, I don't associate with people like that at all. I just completely cut them off. At some point, it was even my own family, and I just had to like lock myself in my room, like literally all day, and just stay there, because my energy field, I value my family, but my energy field to me is most important, because that determines my mood, that determines my results, that determines my happiness, etc. So just cut those people off. However, if you absolutely have to be around them, like they're your significant other, your family, or coworkers, or your boss, etc., ground yourself. You know, it's similar to what Geerish said, shielding. But ground yourself. Make sure you ground your energy. Make sure you ground it so good to where nothing phases you. You know, nothing will phase you. Also, what comes into play here is the law of non-resistance. The law of non-resistance says that whatever you resist persists. So if you keep resisting something, the more you resist it, the more it's going to persist, the more it's going to keep coming into you. So like Bob Proctor says, instead of resisting, just let it go. You know, let the dead bury the dead. Just let it go.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, you have to react. You have to respond and not react. So I hope both of our perspectives gave you some clarity on that. The next question is, what is a natural method for staying calm?
Yeah. Is there one? I think it's different for different people, you know, because each person is different. So once again, we can't generalize, but what I would say is that you are very calm, you are very happy when you're doing what you were meant to do. Okay, so my short answer, if I had to give to this question, would be, you really need to understand yourself. What would you really do in a day if you had to choose what you want to do in a day? something you would not get paid for. Let's imagine you had all the time in the world, you know. What would you choose? I know for you it would be fishing. So what would you really do? Okay? And you write down a list of the things. Okay? And hopefully one of these things is actually linked to your job you do, which actually generates income. And the best thing that can happen to someone is actually doing something you enjoy so much doing. You don't really care about the financial reward, but you actually do it and you do get rewarded financially. And if you can actually find that thing, it's going to make you happy. Automatically, you're going to be calm, because what is not feeling calm? You don't feel calm when you're actually either not expressing yourself fully because there's some restriction, you're afraid of the opinions of people. Maybe you think that you're not valuable enough. The thing you're going to say, people are not going to accept that. So these insecurities actually lead to uncalmness, to unhappiness. But if you're actually expressing yourself fully, if you're actually doing things you like, you're going to be very, very calm, very happy automatically. So I think, to me, this is what it is: expressing yourself fully, doing something you like. Now, let's say you're stuck in a job whereby you actually need to do it to get income to pay your debts and all that, and it's not your thing. Then to balance it, you actually need to do something that you love. So like in your case, let's say you would go fishing during the weekend. For some people, it will be exercise. For some people, during their free time, they would be writing because that's their thing. They enjoy writing, they enjoy painting, they enjoy recording, singing. I don't know. But try to fit in that thing that makes you feel good and allow you to express yourself fully into your life. The more you do it, the more you're going to be happy. It's like for us right now, we're talking about that because it's our thing, you know. We're not doing it because it generates income. We just enjoy doing it. It makes us feel alive. So each one of us need to find that thing, I would say.
Good answer. The last question is for me. So they watch my, I'm not going to read the whole question, but it's very long. They basically watched my first video I did on how to reprogram the subconscious mind. And the question is, I'm in network marketing. What do I do if nobody believes in me and my opportunity / company? Wow. I relate to this very, very well. So my first 3 years in network marketing, I didn't make anything. I didn't recruit one person, not one sale, not one invitation, nothing. And it took me a while to understand why. And I was like in the same situation as you. No one believed in me. No one believed in the product or service I was offering. And what I realized is that you must have a self-image that is not in harmony with the results that you want. So let's say you want more success there, you know, you might have had a past life like me, a past childhood like me, where you guys lacked money, lacked financial resources, maybe low self-esteem, low confidence, etc. So just because that's been your script up till now doesn't mean it has to continue to be. If you don't like that movie, you change that movie, and you're the director of your own life in this thing we call life. It is our own movie. You are the director. You rewrite the script, you know, rewrite the way you would like people to see you, rewrite the way you would like people to view your opportunity, rewrite the way you want to see yourself as a business person, rewrite the way of how much money you want to earn, rewrite the way of your characteristics that you would like to embody. How do you want people to view you? When you're up in front of a prospect or a client, how do you want that person to view you? You know, so take a sheet of paper and literally write down all the characteristics of how you want people to view you. That is your script. And just like acting, you're gonna read that script and you're gonna literally embody that script, just like a good actor does. You're gonna take on that script, and you will play that role successfully one day. And so for this week, that's all the questions we have. I really, really, really appreciate it. This is so much fun for us answering the questions. It's also good for you guys. I mean, I've had a lot of questions to myself when I was growing up. So clarity is very important.
Yeah.
So the more you guys are clear, the happier me and Geerish are. You know?
Yeah,
So,
keep sending the questions.
yeah,
Keep sending
really,
questions.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I really appreciate guys. I really appreciate your time, and I will see you guys next Saturday for another Q&A.
Yeah. Bye-bye.